homestead. Welcome back to the homestead. I had some questions about the dwarfing gene, and I wanted to try to answer some of those questions. There's only a few, a handful of breeds that actually carry the dwarfing gene. Mini Lop, Mini Satin, Mini Rex, Netherland Dwarf, I believe the Jersey Woolly. There's a few others. I can't name them all. But I just wanted to kind of show you what you will experience when you get the dwarfing gene. First of all, about the dwarfing gene itself, okay? The dwarfing gene is dominant, okay? It is, and the rabbit gets 2 copies, one from each parent, just like they do with any other gene. But the difference is, if they get the dwarfing gene from one parent, then they end up being a dwarf rabbit. They end up having the dwarf gene. Either they have it or they don't, okay? If they have it, it will show. In other words, it can't be carried, okay? Or it can't be carried in the background. In other words, if they have the dwarfing gene, you can tell by looking at the rabbit, by its phenotype, that it has the dwarfing gene, okay? Now, the dwarfing gene being dominant, okay, is a little bit different in that the if the kit gets 2 copies of the dwarf gene, in other words, a copy from each parent, then what happens is it becomes lethal, and that kit will actually be born as what we call a peanut, and it will be oddly shaped, somewhat deformed, very, very, very tiny compared to the rest of the rabbits in the litter, and it will just I know firsthand someone who's had some to live to almost a couple of months old, but ordinarily within a day or 2 they're gone. A lot of breeders will, when they look at a new litter for the first time and they pick up peanuts in there, like on the day they were born or something, they'll just go ahead and cull them. I don't do that. I let nature run its course. I let them go on their own time, at their own time. Okay, these are 2 kits from Glow Stick. Okay, now this, and I don't know if this is a little gentleman or a young lady. I know this is a buck. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this too is a buck, but that won't matter really for our purposes. I just want to know what to call him. Okay, all right, this little guy, I don't know. Let me see if I can get him set up here. Okay, can you tell the difference in these 2 rabbits? This rabbit was hit by the dwarfing gene. See how short the ears are? See how short the ears are in comparison to the rest of the body? How nice and short-bodied she is, or he is, and how compact? Okay, that's hit by the dwarfing gene. This guy right here, on the other hand, he didn't get hit. He didn't get hit by the dwarfing gene. Okay? He does not have the dwarfing gene. Look at how big he is. Look, he's a head longer in body than this guy right here. These are from the same litter, born the same day, folks. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The dwarf gene makes a ton of difference. This guy right here, when he grows up, he will probably hit over 5 pounds. Okay? Mini Rex bucks top it for, in order to be registered or to show, they're a DQ over 4 pounds 4 ounces, no matter what age they are. Over 4 pounds 4 ounces, they're a DQ. Okay? So this guy, he'll go over 5 easy. See how long his body is in comparison. Here, sit up here. Now, sit up here for me. Sit up here, buddy. Now, that'd be nice. Anyway, he's about a head longer, see, than this one here. And look at these big old monster ears. Look, this is what I do when I'm gauging ear length. I take, stay right here. That's why I like to the barrel here, I can, it's plastic and they can't dig in their finger or their claws, and I just slide them around and put them where I want them. Anyway, see right here, see where that ear comes to? I use my finger, put the finger down in between the ear. See up here where the ear comes to? Okay, now let's do this one. See, there's a good ½ inch difference in the ear length, or more. See, he was up here. See the difference? Okay, you have nice short ears. So this guy right here, he won't be shown, okay, and he won't be sold as show quality. What'll happen to him is he becomes a cull, and he will actually become available to someone who is looking for a pet rabbit, and he will sell at a much reduced price without a pedigree. Okay, if they're not show quality, I don't want. In other words, I don't intend for the bloodline to be carried. So if I sell it as a cull, I don't sell it as a show quality animal, and I don't sell it with a pedigree. Okay, and the reason for that is if somebody decided to get overzealous and thought they wanted to breed this rabbit, they can breed the rabbit, but they can't turn around without that pedigree to show it's purebred and what have you. It's going to be a lot harder for them to turn around and sell that as sell those youngsters as a show quality animal. But now, on the other hand, being a dwarf rabbit is not necessarily, or being a non-dwarf, you can actually breed those if they have something specific type-wise that you're looking for and hoping to improve in the line, because you can breed. Keep in mind, he's a non-dwarf. Okay, so you can breed him to a dwarf doe, and you're still going to end up with a bunch of babies that are going to get hit by the dwarf gene. Now, if they're not hit by the dwarf gene, I don't recommend you take them to a show. Okay, now, you could show them as juniors because their weight will probably be good as juniors, but they will eventually probably go overweight, and so you probably wouldn't be able to register them unless you did it right at 6 months or something like that, and what have you, before they got too heavy. But I mean, really, what's the point? Okay, being a non-dwarf rabbit here is not the sole purpose he's to be culled. Okay, I want to show you something else. The main reason he's being culled, which he wasn't going to be shown anyway, and I don't need him for breeding, but I can't remember where it's located at. The sun's not helping me much here, but he has a white spot on his body somewhere here. I don't remember where that was located. Sorry about the wind, folks. Wind picking up a little bit. There it is. There it is. And you probably won't see it on camera, but it's just a little white spot. And trust me, even though I had a little bit of trouble finding it, trust me, a judge will pick that up right off the bat. They are trained. They are trained to see that, and it's right out there in a spot where it'd be nice and easy to be seen. So that's the reason this guy, the main reason this guy is going to be culled. He could be a breeder otherwise, but I'm going to sell him without a pedigree, simply because I don't want somebody breeding this rabbit and contaminating the mini Rex gene pool in this area with rabbits from him, when there are so much nicer rabbits that the breeding can come from. Remember, as breeders, we want to improve the breed. We don't want to degrade the breed. Okay, so if the rabbit is no good, sell it as a pet. It doesn't mean you have to kill it. You can. A lot of people do, but it doesn't mean you have to kill it. Cull means you're not going to use. To me, okay, cull means it's not going to be shown. It's not going to be used for show. Whether I show it or I sell it to somebody else to show, it means it's not going to be shown. Okay, you don't have to kill it. A lot of people like these little guys as pets. In fact, if she does what she says she's going to do, I have a lady who's supposed to pick him up this coming Friday. Okay, she actually had been waiting on another one. But anyway, that's how the dwarfing gene works. If you get a peanut in the litter. Now keep in mind that a peanut and a runt are not the same thing. Okay, a runt is just a rabbit that's smaller. than the rest of the rabbits in the litter. Okay? And sometimes if it's a big litter, they won't make it because they're not strong enough to push up and get when the doe feeds to get milk. But they will, in a smaller litter, a lot of times they will make it, and they will actually end up growing and catching up with their siblings by weaning time, and they will all be about the same size. Okay? A peanut you will recognize right away. It will be deformed. Its rear hips, his back hips here will be kind of deformed, and his backbone will be, he'll be kind of curved. His legs will probably curve up underneath his body like that. Now keep in mind, you're talking about, you know, something like that. So you're going to have to look close. But a runt, you don't necessarily, here, let go, buddy. You need your claws. You need your claw. You need to be declawed. Clipped. We don't declaw rabbits, but he needs to be clipped. But yeah, we get him turn around. Look at him sit down there. Isn't that nice? I'm proud of these little guys. Anyway, a runt, you don't necessarily have to cull or get rid of or write it off as dead. A runt can make it in a smaller litter. Okay. In fact, I have a lilac otter buck over there that was a runt in Twix's latest litter, and she had 9, but she had 2 runts. One of them didn't make it, the other one did. Okay, but now Twix is an exception. Okay, Twix is just an excellent mama. For any and all of her other downfalls, she is an excellent mama, and probably has about twice the kits per litter of just about any other mini Rex doe. But I'm getting off the subject here. But the runts are not necessarily, you're not necessarily going to lose them. They can grow up to be nice rabbits, especially if you have some pairings where those kits, when they grow up, they start growing a little to the heavy side, to where they're pushing that upper boundary in weight. In other words, you know, that 4 1/4 mark for bucks, 4.5 pounds for does. Remember, that's you know, that's actually 4 pounds and 4 1/4 if you're looking at ideal weight. But now max weight is 4 1/4 for bucks, and on a doe, senior doe, the max weight for mini Rex is 4 pounds 8 ounces, 4.5 pounds. But ideal is about 4 ounces under that is the ideal weight for those. Okay, so the dwarf gene, if you have a little deformed rascal in your litter, if you have a little deformed fella in your litter, it is definitely a peanut. And what that can tell you is that you can write that down in your notes and what have you. That means that both of those parents, okay, they have the dwarf gene. And it means anytime you breed those parents, 25% of the litter it is possible for it to be peanuts. So if they have 4, it means you're going to lose 1. If they have 6, maybe 1 or 2. You know, if they have 10, you're definitely going to lose probably 2 or 3. But if you only have 1 parent, see, I've got Tag now. He has a dwarf gene. He has the dwarf gene, and he has the dwarf gene, and he will throw it to many of his kits, not all of them, but say for instance, just recently, he had a litter with Iris. Iris too has the dwarf gene. So what happened? Iris gave birth to 6. One of them was a peanut. At 2 days old, it passed away. It does grow a little. They do grow a little fur, but they won't grow in size. They won't get any bigger. And so what happens is as the other kits grow and it doesn't, they just kind of get pushed back and they get weaker and weaker, and finally it's, you know, nature takes over. And if that sort of thing saddens you, then you want to try to work to, or if you have a hard time handling that, first off, that's part of breeding rabbits, folks. But if you have a real problem with that, my recommendation is to get you a dwarf buck or all dwarf does, one of the two, and get your other gender. It's easier just keeping a dwarf buck, and then every doe that you breed him with, you've got the dwarf gene capability there. Now keep in mind, you're going to have some like these. Whether you've got two, if you've got whether you've got both parents or one parent as dwarf carriers, you're going to get some like these, and you have to watch for those. These are the ones you have to cull. Okay, if you don't cull them and do something useful with them other than trying to you know, breed for show out of them, and you can like, say if you had him and you had your whole herd of does was all dwarf gene carriers, then you could breed him to every single one of them, and you could get dwarf kits out of every litter. But you're also going to get some like him that are not. So you got to know what you're looking for, and you got to know how to cull them out and get rid of them. Okay. Again, you don't have to kill them. You can find homes for them, make pets out of them. If you've got pet stores, make an arrangement with them to take them at 8 weeks old and what have you. They can throw a few dollars your way, and then they can turn around and they can have the rabbits to sell for pets and what have you. You know, it's a possibility. Just talk to them and see what they say. Sometimes a Tractor Supply or Orson Farm and Home or something like that, a farm and home store, sometimes they'll buy a few rabbits to resell to their customers as pets. Just talk to them. The worst they can say is no. But I mean, I don't think they usually charge you to answer questions, so you're not going to be out anything. But you're not going to know if you don't ask, right? Okay, folks, I think that's, if you have any questions, you're welcome to send them to me. But the dwarf gene is just that. It's not real complicated. Either they have it or they don't. And again, look at these. His ears are almost so long. He might end up being a floppier this summer whenever it gets hot. He might end up being a lop for a little while anyway. He's a pretty rabbit. He's got pretty black fur. He sure does have that. And those traits, even though he's a non-dwarf rabbit, those are traits that he can pass on along to his kids. Okay, that it's just they're going to be in type. They're going to be the kits. Unless you breed him to a dwarf carrying doe, the kits are going to be long in type. I mean, he is super long. Look at his neck. I mean, look at that. You know, he's going to be long in type, long body, and that's one of those things. The judge is going to pick that out before he even takes it out of the cage. But look, set him up here. See the difference in the length and body. Okay, these are only 7 weeks old, or 8 weeks old, 7 or 8 weeks old. Okay, so they are. This is gonna exponentially multiply here. Okay, as he gets bigger, and these ears already. I haven't measured his ears, but I'm betting those are over 3 inches long now. And by the time he grows another month or two, they just might be a DQ. But he's got that DQ for that spot right there, so ears aren't going to matter. He's going to go home with somebody that's going to make a pet out of him, and he will live a nice, long, happy life. Getting hot, buddy? Yeah, getting hot sitting out here in the sun. Alright, folks, we're going to cut the video off. I hope this helps. I hope I didn't confuse you any further about the dwarfing gene. If you have any questions, or if I did confuse you, send me some more questions, or send me a message or something on Facebook or through YouTube, and just let me know, and I'll try to explain it further or explain something differently if you didn't understand the way I worded something or what have you. I know I'm not the best teacher in the world, but I just try to pass on. There was a time when I didn't know these things, and I had to learn. And it takes a lot longer to learn when you don't have anybody that's willing to sit you down and help you and try to share some of their information with you. And that's what I'm trying to do with you guys. some of you already know this stuff, and I apologize if it's boring you or if it's beneath you, because it's kind of like, you know, you're in 5th grade and this is 2nd grade stuff or something like that, you know, and I apologize for that, but you know, there are people that don't know, so we need to take care of everybody. And that's the thing. A lot of beginners. I have ran into a lot of beginners this year, and it just tickles me to death. People that have never been to a rabbit show before are getting into rabbits. They're contacting me wanting to get started in various breeds of rabbits, wanting to know where they can be located, or they're trying to get some rabbits from here, and that's good too. It's exciting, folks. Exciting. This is Arkansas. We had last year and this year we had 2 ARBA sanctioned shows in the whole state. Hey, I'm looking for the day when we got 4 or 5. We'll see. All right, y'all have a great day. God bless. Come here, buddies. You gonna ride on my shoulder? Huh?